What's up? Good afternoon, good night, good morning, wherever you are tuned in from. Welcome to the BitLab Academy daily live stream. It is, what day is it? It is June 7th, 2023. Man, this week has been crazy. Ups, downs, all arounds. Hopefully, Gary Gensler doesn't give us the reach. I'm not going to say it, but it's in your mind. How's everybody doing today? My name's Kellam. Welcome to the Daily Show. We've got a great show lined up for you today. We're going to put some context to everything going on right now, because everybody's wondering, what should I be doing? How should I be navigating all this craziness with SEC coming down, crushing certain things that are going in the market, crushing sentiment? Hold on, let me go ahead and mute you real quick. Will you mute yourself there, Connor? Just for a moment. So we got a special guest lined up for today as well. You may or may not know who he is. I doubt most of you will, but it's a great thing that he's doing. I'm happy to share what's going on with him. But before we get into that, I do want to break down a little bit what's going on contextually. SEC coming down with just absolute, I mean, I don't even know. I think what we can do today to start is, let me go ahead and pull up, let me pull it up right here. Mr. Kevin Svensson, who I've had on my Crypto Answered podcast regularly. By the way, we've got a wonderful Crypto Answered lined up tomorrow at 4 p.m. It's going to be with The Rational Root and Dan Gambardello, if you know Crypto Capital Ventures, the guy that, good-looking guy that usually does all those Cardano and Bitcoin videos. Well, we're going to be breaking that down here in a little bit, and I'll tell you more about that. That's tomorrow through my Twitter. But I want to bring up Kevin Svensson, who made a great video. He contextualized it much more succinctly than I could in this moment. And it's right here. Let me go ahead and pull this up. Right here. All right, let me go ahead and pull this up. Now let's go ahead and share this screen. I just want you all to just hear this and let me know what you think. Let me make sure the computer audio, where is it at? Desktop audio, there we go. Now this is just ridiculous.
Base. After the news came out earlier today, Gary Gensler went on CNBC and he said something very strange during the interview.
Look, we don't need more digital currency. We already have digital currency. It's called the US dollar, it's called the euro, it's called the yen. They're all digital right now.
After I heard that, I thought to myself, why is it important for Gary Gensler to be giving his opinion on if we need more digital currencies or not? He didn't even mention blockchain technology and all the potential that comes with it. He just said he doesn't think we need more. And that makes it very clear that Gary Gensler has motives outside of just protecting investors.
So you could see,
as you all know by now,
Kevin very clearly laid it out there. It's not, let's be honest, SEC is supposed to be for consumer protections, for customer protections, for the citizens of the U.S., so we make sure that we're not getting in over our heads. But let's be honest, anything that's involving fiat dollars, fiat anywhere, is getting in over your heads. Fiat currency, a U.S. dollar has lost about 78% of its buying power since the 70s. Think about that. What you could buy with $10, or let's take that back. What you could buy with $1 in the 70s will cost you about $7.80 now. That's how far things have expanded. Now, some things have stayed relatively the same, but it's very few and far between. The majority of things, housing, education, cost of goods, living, life costs more when using the US dollar. However, since Bitcoin and the blockchain sort of explosion into the world and this other option, not only has things drastically increased in terms of the value proposition of what they are comparatively to the US dollar or other fiat currencies. Other fiat currencies, it's even more, tens of thousands of percent or hundreds of thousands of percent if you look at it compared to the Bolivar or the Venezuelan dollar or all these other highly inflated currencies. But Bitcoin has just gone up and up and up in value as compared. If I pull this up, US dollar to Bitcoin value, I can't spell. Bitcoin, I want to pull up this chart really quick. Chart. The point here is the SEC really doing anything to protect us? It seems like Seems like in reality, Bitcoin to US dollar valuation. I had this chart up and my browser crashed again right before we went live. So, okay, here we go. This is, I don't know where it went. Let's see. Open image in new tab. There we go. This is what I want you to see right here. You see this? This is the value of the US. This is the value of Bitcoin. This is the purchasing power of the dollar in the same time. You see the difference here? Bitcoin going up in value and its purchasing power. Think about it. 10 years ago or more, there was a Bitcoin, the Bitcoin pizza, debacle where it cost 10,000 Bitcoin to buy a pizza. Well, now you can buy, I would argue, more than 10,000 pizzas with a Bitcoin. You see what I'm getting at here? It's like the value, the purchasing power of Bitcoin. And we're not even speaking about other assets here. We're speaking specifically of Bitcoin as it relates to the US dollar. What is the SEC really protecting? The SEC seems to be protecting the central banks, government power, because they can control the US dollar. They can control fiat, whatever government sovereign body you're talking about. They're interested in maintaining their control, not interested in protecting the consumer, protecting you. So we're going to be talking about that. And what a great way, Connor, we're going to be bringing you in here in a second. What a great way to, before we dive into the show, we're going to be looking at a lot of charts, some on-chain metrics, some TA. We're going to be breaking it all down. But before we do that, one of the things that we need to talk about, the best investment we could ever make in anything in this world, not only is in our time, right, how we spend our time, but let's think about how some of the best ways we can use to spend our time. And that's making sure we're teaching children, making sure we're just instilling meaningful values in them. And I'm not talking about morality. I'm talking about the tools we need to live, especially looking to the future, how we can do that. So bringing up our guest here, and this is not Crypto Noble. This is, let me turn off that little name tag you have on here. Boom. This is Mr. Connor. What do your students call you, my friend?
My students call me Mr. Corey.
Mr. Corey. So it's Connor Corey. So to give you guys a little bit of a understanding of who this fine gentleman is and why I brought him up, he tagged me and BitBoy and some of the other staff here at Hit Network about a month or two ago. And he's basically been, I'm not even going to tell him anymore. You're doing an interesting thing with is it elementary school?
Middle school.
So middle school, and as you can all see on the background behind him, he has all those different coin logos on behind him. What are you doing with your kids? How are you helping them be prepared for the future? Let's forget the SEC stuff. We're talking about the best investment we can make. It's in our kids. What are you teaching them? What are you having them do? How are you helping them bring them into the future?
First, Kelly, thanks for having me on. It's kind of like shocked. I was shocked when this guy posted, and then my phone's blowing up. People are saying stuff. I'm like, this is insane. I'm a teacher. We get like 10 likes if we send out a tweet. Nobody cares what we have to say. Yeah. Over the last 3 years, I think I got into crypto a lot when a lot of people did in the last bull run and made trial by fire, making the same mistakes. And then as, everything started to crash, I began to learn more about it, invested in it. And as a math teacher, this is my 20th year, I saw the importance of how the direction of our money was going when we were printing constantly. And then all of a sudden people are shocked that there's inflation. So I wanted to start teaching my students a little bit about it at the end of the year because they all knew Bitcoin. And once our standardized tests were over, we have like the last month of school, and it's a little hard to keep middle schoolers' attention.
Yeah. So my attention.
We started learning how to trade cryptocurrency. We would take our math skills, which are, statistical analysis, probability, different things like that, and apply them at the end of the year to the real world. But they don't want to learn about banks. They don't understand. They want to learn about crypto. They know that it's popular to them. So basically, in short, we have the kids, we've researched a little bit. We kind of go over what market cap is. And then they start out by just picking any coin they want. And we watch that coin for about 2 weeks. And each kid does a slideshow on its price, its current price, whether it went up or down, how much percent, what the market cap is. And some kids are making crazy amounts of money. Some kids are losing money. And then after about a week and a half, I say, all right, you kind of see how it works. Now you're going to really do it. We're going to have an actual competition that lasts about 2.5 weeks. We wrapped up yesterday, but that competition, they are allowed to trade their coins. We have a standard $25 gas fee. If you want to trade your coin, it is, I give them $1,000 of, fake money. Obviously, I don't have $1,000, but they all kind of keep track of their $1,000 if they had invested. At the end, we have a winner in each class. That winner gets to choose, and we had this yesterday. That winner gets to actually choose $15 fiat currency that I stick right up on the board. I say, you can take that now. Or I will invest $15 for you and pay you out whatever it's worth on your 8th grade graduation day in 2 years.
I gotta say, you know what? This is so incredible. I don't know if they're probably not aware of this, but you have put them in a category. And I want, if your students watch this is directly to your students and to any teachers out there that are watching this as well, to pay note to this, because why? Of course, we need to teach people about the real world of what's going on in today's, landscape. But what's most important is, yes, learn the basics of what today's landscape is, but students need to learn about what's tomorrow. And you have set them up, and I would say probably the top 3% of the world, they probably have more knowledge about just basic understanding of the fundamentals. What's a market cap? Most people, you know how many people I talk to in the market today that have $100,000 in the market? They don't even know what the market, they're buying because I like this price. It's like, well, how is the price relevant if you don't know the market cap? Because a coin could be $67,000 and another coin could be 0.001 cent. And it's irrelevant if you don't know what the market cap is. So you're setting them up with such a wonderful launching pad into the future. And not only that, every one of your students is so far ahead of the curve of the majority of even CPAs, certified public accountants, these people that do this professionally. And so I really applaud you on that. So tell me more about it. Tell me some of the process, because I know one of the things we do at BitLab Academy is I try to make sure that we have people are so anxious to trade and make money, they forget to learn to crawl before they walk and learn to walk before they run. And so I really like the fact that you talked about a little bit of the basics, tokenomics, a little bit of the market cap, but then, okay, you have them practice trade, get the feel for it, and then you have them put money in and understand that you can't just trade, because that eats your profit. So just talk to me, anything else you wanted to say about any of this. I'm loving this, and I applaud you for it.
I think one of the coolest things you get to see with the kids is in the beginning when they're practice trading, they all go for the, fraction of a penny coin. It's so cheap without understanding the market cap. And listen, the last bull run, I fell for it myself. I'm like, oh, Doge is going to go to $1. Shiba Inu is going to go to a penny. I'm going to be rich. I fell for it too. And I kind of educated myself, and that's what I wanted to educate them on. And they started, most of them picked as we got to the second part, the actual trading, where after they watched their coin, they watched their friends' coins, they saw who was going up, who was going down. They really started to understand they're not going to win this 2-week competition with Bitcoin or Ethereum, or because I'm not saying don't invest in them. This is fake money.
Let me ask you a question though. Are they locked? And this isn't for everybody listening. This isn't for everybody. This is for his class. Are they locked into having to make one pick, or is it like a 1 or 2, 3 coin portfolio, or is it just a dollar amount they can do whatever they want?
It is $1,000. They have to pick one coin. They are allowed to trade it at any time. If they want to trade it one day, trade it the next day, and we charge $25 for a trade. But yes, they have to keep it all in one, because I have 90 students doing this, and I have to create all these slideshows. I can't run all these numbers for every date to make sure they have it on there. And it does get confusing. They're kids. They're not, they don't read markets for a living, and neither do I. So it does take time. But to see them when they're picking a coin start to drop down past 50 and past 100, thinking this market cap's smaller, less money has to come in for me to make money. And since it's just a 2-week competition, I'm going to do this. I had a bunch, 2 of our students that won, they made a significant amount, like a 60% gain. And then they asked on their own without me, can I trade it for Tether and keep my profit? And I think I can win this competition right just with this $600 that I'm up.
You know why? Your students and whoever did that, I want to shout them out specifically. I don't know their names, but they'll know who they are if you share this with your class. They just did something that 90% of the people, adults in the market, forget to do, which is take profit and protect your capital. If you're not protecting your capital first, and then at some point realizing when is a point, when do you feel like you deserve to have profits? If you're always chasing more, there's a part of you that's telling you you're not worth the money you're making. Because if you're not valuing a 5% gain or a 10% gain, you don't deserve a 60% gain when it comes in.
No, I totally agree. And that's was one of the best things that they said. It was an exit strategy. I'm like, you have a better exit strategy than me half the time, and they're 12 years old. Yeah. And one of the other things, they've now done it for 3 years. The first year, I kind of got a little pushback from some emails from parents. What are you doing in class? What are you doing? And to explain, listen, this is wrapping up everything we've learned this year with charts, with, data analysis. We're putting it all together in the real world. They didn't understand it, but they were fine with it. Last year, I had a few parents, this is so cool. They loved it. This year, I must have 15 to 20 emails from parents saying, thank you for teaching my child this. I have something to talk about them with. I was in, during the bull run a few years and got excited, but I fell off. And now me and my son or me and my daughter are sitting at home. We're kind of talking about what trades they're going to make tomorrow in your class and if they should hold on to a coin. And that's education kind of spreading out and getting people back into things. And this is where you really need to start. Like, there's going to be another bull run. And if I want these kids to know that, let's say, take that $15 now, you can. Not one of the 5 took the $15. Every single, it's sitting right in front of them for a 12-year-old, cash in hand. Every single one of them. I have a red pill, blue pill, like the Matrix thing. I'm like, you can take the red pill and learn the real financial system of the world that's going to happen.
You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me, I don't know if it was 60 Minutes or what it was, but it is probably 10 years plus back. But there was a study that they were doing with kids, like young kids, like 4 to 6, 5, 6 years old. And they would basically put them in a room with the marshmallow. And you saw it, right? Where they put a kid with it in a marshmallow and they say, if you don't eat this, you can have as many marshmallows as you want later. And then they'd leave the room, and the kids, and they basically what they were predicting was kids that had an instilled sort of sense of delayed gratification. Then they tracked these kids into the future, and all the kids that basically waited to eat the marshmallow also had a more successful future. And it's so funny how I think it's Alan Watts talks about this. There's this is kind of a tangent, but it all ties together. Where when we're little kids, like small, I'm talking toddlers. We make noise, we dance, and we're free. We could do it, and until a parent or a neighbor or somebody else tells us to quiet down or to stop moving, and then coming back around to our teens. If you want to be a dancer, then you got to go through 10 years of training to dance as freely as you did naturally before. So we need to instill all of us, and when we're talking about financial markets, and I always look at it this way, financial markets and what our money, our capital, our livelihood is tied to, especially in the markets, if you're actively investing and trading, really highlights what type of person you are. You may not know it, you may not want to face it, but if you're noticing there's greed there, it's okay. It doesn't mean you're a bad person, but it does mean you need to take an honest look at yourself and figure out what protections, what mechanisms you could put in place for you so that you can have the best strategy. It's the same thing, if I was in class when I was a kid, everybody would be talking around me for 10 minutes. The second I opened my mouth, I would get in trouble. So am I being persecuted? Am I being singled out? Or do I just have a louder voice and I don't know how to balance it? So we all are individuals and we all need to know what is the best strategy for us. We got to figure that out. And I really commend you on what you're doing. And I hope I'm going to clip this out and get BitBoy to share this as well, because I think every teacher in America should be seeing this. We don't need to figure out what book needs to be censored from 1822. We need to be focusing on what can we teach the future. That's really
kids
the
aren't
point
finding
here.
those books anyway. Half of them have a phone and are looking at TikTok to get their information, but everyone's worried about the other books.
Yeah. It's just incredible. So anything else you wanted to shout out, or anything you wanted to say to any other teachers out there? Is there anything you're doing? I know I'm kind of putting you in the public sector. I don't know if you want people to reach out to you or not. You can you're
more than welcome to reach out. I love helping people. I've done stuff with, open educational resources for years to help with Khan Academy to get people going, to find different ways to teach. And I think just as a teacher, sometimes you feel like you're kind of pressured into following this pacing guideline, making sure you get this done, making sure you get that done. If you have the option, I work for a fantastic administrator. He knows I'm doing what I love and the kids love what I'm doing. So he's okay if I go off track a little bit. But sometimes after these standardized tests, the end of the year, if you tell the kids all year, we're going to learn about crypto at the end of the year, the last few weeks. I had a kid as soon as our standardized test was over. Mr. Kaur, you never taught us about cryptocurrency yet. And I'm like, I've never had a kid say, Mr. Kaur, you didn't teach us about systems of equations yet. I didn't have that happen. But they're all excited because they know what Bitcoin is. They know what Dogecoin, Shiba Inu, they know those, and maybe Bored Apes. They're like, oh, I've seen them. So they want to learn about it and they're interested and they want that knowledge. And they're at an age where if you give it to them now, they'll follow it. I know my students, I see my 7th graders now that did it last year. They're tracking their coin from last year. Mr. Corey, you're going to owe me $36 right now. And I'm like, I actually only put in 15 for you. So it's only costing me 15. It's sitting in my wallet. I'll show it to them. They look at my MetaMask and they find it the coolest thing. I'm actually super excited. Like next year will be the first time we actually pay a kid out on his graduation, but to just hand them an envelope. And
so,
like, yeah,
so I got something for you. How many kids, is it every kid that does it or just each class winner gets the 15 that gets to mature?
Each class. So right this year I have four periods and there's one in each group. So last year we had block scheduling. So I only had 3 2-hour classes. So there was 3 that got paid out. The year before was the COVID year, pandemic year. I didn't really know totally what I was doing, but it's just enhanced this end of the year unit every year. And as long as you can prove to people that this has to do with your subject of teaching math, that you know your standards, you're a math teacher, you know what you're supposed to teach, you can relate cryptocurrency to any standard from 2nd grade to calculus. You just have to be able to prove it. Just say, hey, listen, no, we're just reviewing this, we're reviewing that. And most times, schools and administrators, at the end of the year, they're happy you're showing up and you're keeping these kids engaged and learning. So give it a try if you're a teacher. It's fun.
I will say, just because I love this so much, whoever's in this year's block, it might be 4, it might be 8 different. I don't know how many it is. I will add an additional $50 to each one of those people at graduation if they hold it.
Fantastic. I'm holding it. So yeah. I'm holding it for him.
I'll coordinate with you.
Your parents call me and they're like, my son wants to invest in this. And he told me I have to open up a wallet for him. What are you doing to me? Selling Prime on the corner? You're
secretly orange pilling and slowly getting the parents more aware of it. It really is a wonderful thing. And I'll talk to you offline as well, because, with BitLab Academy, one of the things we're doing currently, we have all this mostly trading content, but BitLab Academy is going to the vision for it, and not only the vision, the actual plan that's in place that is moving forward is we're going to have everything that's involved with the digital asset ecosystem, from Web3 to coding smart contracts to mining to more beginner stuff. But also one of the main goals also is to create programs that we can also utilize for schools from I would say middle school up all the way through colleges, for government organizations to create those things. So I'll talk with you about that. I was kind of racking my brain because there's a lot of things I can do, but sometimes you have to know when to delegate and bring on somebody else and empower somebody else that has that sort of skill set. And I think maybe we could talk offline about sort of working together towards that goal.
Absolutely. I would love to. And the updates to BitLab Academy have been fantastic. I just want to tell you that if you haven't signed up, the whole new update, everything, it's broken down much simpler. It's very easy to understand if you're a beginner. I went through all the beginning stuff anyway. I went through the blockchain 101 stuff again, just to, there's always gaps to fill. And I'm going through the trading. I'm still not great at certain things. I don't know everything. I don't think I do, but it's always somewhere where I can go back and find these things. And I thank you for that, because it's hard to find relevant content.
Well, I appreciate that. When we got this first round of updates done, me and some of the team on BitLab, there's that moment. And this is another thing that we forget when we were young. Do you remember back the first time you had a really messy room or a really big chore you had to do and you did it? And there's a moment where you're like, I'm never going to have to do this again. And then reality hits you and you're like, oh, I have to do this once a week or I have to do this. That's the same thing with the update. We put out this update and part of us was like, we're done. And really, in reality, it's like, we've only just begun. You know, it's like, you've got to hold on to, you've got to dive in, allow your brain to dive in to enjoying the process and not be so fixated on the goal. Because once you reach that goal, that the goal doesn't bring happiness. The goal doesn't bring success. It's the means by which your mind allows you to process the experience along the way, learn from it, and share what you're learning with others. That's really, I think, the nugget that all of us need to do better at and be more grateful along the way, you know, so.
No, I agree. It's the mindset to have. You got to appreciate small things as you're going along, or what are you living? How are you living? You're just living for one moment at the end. It doesn't work out that way.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on, Connor. I'll reach out to you online, and to all your students out there, let them know that the man with the scratchy voice says they're on the right track. They're doing well. Keep it up. Remember, delayed gratification brings you a lot exponentially more, whatever it is you're going after in the future. So just keep your focus on that. Don't worry, all of us, adults too, don't worry so much about what the other person does or has, or compare myself to them, because we all have the same problems manifested and expressed in different ways. So we just need to be better to each other and be more centered in ourselves on our own path.
Yeah, we have a saying here. It's, listen, everybody's weird.
Shout out here, Army Piper. Army Piper from Investing Bros said, Kelly, I will match you at their graduation. So now they've got $100 each to be up there. So
I'm going to show them this today. They're going to lose it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, just let them know there's, maybe we'll come up with something more and additional for the rest of the students in the future. But let's stay in contact. Maybe we'll track your process. We'll have our traveling teacher correspondent on, and maybe I don't know. We'll have to figure out what all the mechanisms are and permission slips. Maybe some of the winners we'll have them come on and talk towards their graduation or something.
Fantastic. I look forward to talking to you. Thank you again for having me on. Thank you to everyone who sent kind messages throughout social media, because there were some weird ones, but thank you to the people that sent them.
Yeah, believe me, when you have I don't have a huge account. I've got about, 22,000, and the wide range of the subject matter and the questions, you just kind of have to,
I was blocking people left and right. I'm like, I don't have time. You're not ruining my day. This is a good moment for these kids. Blocked.
Yeah. Well, big love to you, my friend. I'll talk with you soon. Thank you for coming on. And I look forward to following up on this here in the near term future.
All right. Thank you, Kelly. Have a good one.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Everybody, how great is that? So a teacher out there going beyond what the curriculum is telling him he has to do and realizing what he's doing is exactly what the curriculum is telling him he needs to do. Teach the children to make them be more prepared to operate in the future world. Tying in math, tying in understanding charts, tying in, probability, all these things that we should all know. So special shout out to him. If you like that, throw a 1 in chat. That's just wonderful. I'm excited to be able to contribute to those, to all the students as well on their graduation, matching their deal. So everybody, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding that bell. Let's kind of get this going here. We're going to be talking about, now we're going to dive into a bunch of the charts. We're going to be diving into a bunch of stuff here on, trying to figure out what the best strategy is to really navigate all this uncertainty right now. So everybody, if you got those little emojis, I want to see those emojis flying in chat right now. Make those emojis fly. And I'm going to go in meeting for all. There we go. I'm going to kind of close this out right here. I'm going to close. Nope. There we go. There we go. Yeah, make those emojis fly in the chat window. And let's go ahead and dive into the screen here. Now, if you haven't yet, come over to the BitLab Academy page. Follow us here at Academy BitLab. Make sure you're following. Hit this retweet. Hit this like button. You'll be entered to win. We draw on Fridays. So boom, boom, boom. What was I going to do? Oh, coming back over to my page. Make sure you're following me as well. I'll be doing this right here, Crypto Answered. We do every Thursday. We'll be doing it at 4 p.m. on tomorrow. Thursday afternoon, 4 p.m. Eastern time, which is New York time. I'll be posting this afternoon about 2 or 3 o'clock. I'll be posting the promo for that. But we got Dan Gambardelli. You all know Dan. I guarantee you know Dan. But make sure you're following me here at Kelly Kellam, Kelly Kellam. My only account here is the blue check with this HIT square right here, because because I work at the HIT Network, which is the parent company to all these brands we do. Dan is this person. If you don't know him by name, it's this guy right here that has he does such great content. Got him. We got the Rational Root. This person, he's actually one of the speakers at Bitcoin Miami, the conference. And we're going to be bringing up some of his charts as well today. But let's go ahead and dive into all this. Let me go ahead and shout out everybody here in chat. Let me see. Let me move this over. Sometimes I feel like I need to wear sunglasses on screen because there's so many lights around here. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. So we got Army Piper. Shout out to you for that super chat as well as matching. That's so great. Let's go ahead and incentivize. Let's bring out the best in our teachers and support what they're doing, so we can also encourage other teachers to think creatively and teach our students stuff that is really going to matter in the future. We got Zeus Cash in the house, Crypto Kid, how you doing? Crimson Caravan Company, Alexandra G, Sawtooth Hiker, Karen Swigart Harris. Who else we got in here? Win 1010. Stephen Atwell, Crypto JMP. Just making sure I'm not getting any. Am I getting? Okay, I was getting a bunch of dings in my ear. I thought it was my mods. Okay, where are we at? Live stream alerts. There we go. Okay, put this right there. Too many windows. Crypto JMP, Sawtooth Hiker, Brian D. Crypto 420. We got everybody in the house. I bet Granny's Garden's in here somewhere. Justin Eubanks, Gia S, I'm sure. Mr. Blake, unforgettable name. We got everybody in the house. I saw Matt C was in here as well. Total Clinic Solutions. Now let's go ahead and jump in here. I can't read Jeanette. I can't read everybody's name, but I just wanted to shout everybody out. I appreciate y'all. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Ding that bell. Now let's go ahead and dive on into this. First thing I want to look at here is, okay, we talked about the SEC. We talked about the security unenforcement. I mean, they're protecting banks. They're not protecting people. But despite what they should be doing, you have to be aware that this is going to affect what the general market's psychology and understanding and what they should do, and the fear that may shape how they're navigating these markets. So we need to also understand what our timeline is, our time horizon for our investments, when we're expecting to take profit, what our risk tolerance and exposure is, how our portfolio is organized, and make sure that we can protect ourselves from taking too big of a loss, while also setting ourselves up for having that capital management and safety and security, while also being set up to take advantage of as much gains as possible in a safe manner. So with that being said, I just want to point out this right here. This is the, let me go ahead and minimize that. Okay, right here we can see, these are three different periods. This is the first halving being this yellow. This is the second halving being this orange. And this is the current halving being this pinkish, this pink color here. Meaning this was early in Bitcoin when it was very volatile and not much liquidity, not much capital within the asset. So it was very easy to move, okay? And this is also, think about it, not only was it very easy to move, this is back when they were getting like 50, miners were getting around 50 Bitcoin per mining block reward. Now we're only at 6.25. So we're having massive inflation previously, but there's also no liquidity in the space. Think of it early on, it was like a meme coin, because there was small market cap and it was new excitement, new asset people that could come into. And so it would drive very quick very quick price spikes with very strong and fast sell-offs here. Very strong price spike, very, strong sell-off that also just endured. This is early on, people really thought this was dead. And then on the second halving, we have the orange line here. We can see that this had some push-ups, sell-offs, push-up, sell-off. This is a little bit healthier, okay? Meaning that we're having push-ups, sell-offs, push-ups, but we're having less of hype. I mean, they all are having a little bit of a hype cycle, but less expressed hype and then sharp sell-off. We're getting more sort of healthy sort of liquidity flowing in, people taking profit, selling off. And then we see this pink line here. This is the, so this was the 2017 sort of push up. Now this is currently, this is a current, this was the 2018. This is like basically from about right here, this pink line right here, late 2020 into 2021 to 2022 here. And then the sell off all of 2022. And we can see that these are actually as different as we want to believe these were, because of liquidity, because of market cap, because of awareness. We could see a pretty similar sort of process here. And this is one of the reasons why when we talk about Bitcoin, let's come over here to the Bitcoin chart. This is one of the reasons why. Let me go to this chart right here. Let's go out to 3-day. Let's zoom out. And let's actually look at this on the, what am I looking at? Halving past dates. So this is why we can see very similar push up, post halving, sell off, bear market consolidation into bull market leading into the halving. Push up, sell off, post halving, but this is a little bit more time. You see here, sell off, bear market consolidation, a little pre-halving pump. This was a lot more than this one. Sell off, bear market, a little bit of a consolidation here, post halving, push up. Now, when we look at this also, we can see this also expressed here, that all these cycles from the halving date, this is what this is. This is showing how similar they are, with, you know, some small differences on each cycle. This is why they say this is why they say price action it's never going to be the same, but it rhymes, right? So we can see very similar sort of trajectories with a little bit, it's the amount of liquidity that pours into, and the size of these hype cycles has shrunk each time. The question is going to be, is this going to persist into the future? Which I do think is likely generally, but I do think, and I've spoken to a number of other analysts about this as well, I do think it's very likely that we will get actually one more major sort of hype cycle, meaning that we're not going to have diminishing returns on at least one cycle, whether it's this next bull cycle post March or April 2024 halving, or maybe the cycle after sometime in the next, I would think next 6 to 8 years is going to be when it happens. What I'm talking about is when we have the fair value accounting sort of changed for Bitcoin and digital assets as a whole, but Bitcoin specifically, because currently, as it stands, and we talked about this yesterday, I believe, when an institution a publicly traded institution puts Bitcoin on their balance sheet, say on January 15th, say they put $1 million or $1 billion, doesn't matter the value. And 3 days after that they put it on, the price drops 50%, they don't sell, and it comes back up. And by the end of the year, let's say they're up 6x, but they're still holding. At the end of that year, unless they sell and take profits, even though they're up, because at some point during that cycle, any period of loss that they took, if they don't take any profits later and there's just holding, they have to list that they're holding their asset at a loss, which is absolutely ridiculous. It's asinine. It's stupid, and it's unfair. It's not the way. Stocks trade. You know, there's fair value accounting. So when that law, if and when it does get amended, will change the incentive for institutions, or remove the discouragement from institutions, because they don't want to hold an asset at a loss, even though they're in the green. So when that changes, that will be one of the barriers to entry. The second thing that will change also, of course, is clear regulation about all this stuff. Not only regulation for the assets themselves, but for the digital ecosystem as a whole, and how it can participate in the global market. How the US and US residents, US citizens, institutions and citizens, corporations and citizens, what are the rules? And this is why it's a weird thing to say right now, but one of the things that I think is a silver lining in everything that's going on right now with the SEC, with CFTC, with most of this is the SEC, Gary Gensler, really, and the central banks that are pulling all the strings here on the government and I mean, it's so conflagrated. Is that the word I'm looking for right now? It's just murky waters for investors. Not only is it murky waters for investors in digital assets, we're looking what's happening on the global economic landscape. Things are not looking super certain. We're seeing some strong push up in S&P 500. Apple doing really well, just hitting all-time highs. But there's still a lot of confusion about what's going to happen. Are we going to get another interest rate hike? Are we going to get a pause? Is inflation going to be persistent? Are we going to get disinflation? Are we going to get sticky inflation? There's so many different things right now on all fronts. And in addition to that, we have uncertainty about what's going to happen with digital markets, digital asset markets. So when regulation is cleared up and we, if and when we get fair value accounting, I do think that there's going to be, I mean, it's going to feel like a whirlwind of money pouring into the digital asset ecosystem. Bitcoin, it's going to be primarily Bitcoin and Ethereum, maybe a few others through ETFs and stuff like that. But I would venture to guess the large majority of institutional money that gets poured into the digital asset ecosystem. Remember, these are publicly traded companies. They can't be high risk exposed sort of investments. They're going to be Bitcoin. And less than Bitcoin, there's going to be Ethereum as well, but probably at a smaller percentage. But those two are going to really account for, I would think, probably 85% or more, probably more. 85 to 90% of the institutional investment is going to be flowing into institutional pension funds, retirement account allocations when they start, giving the 1%, 2%, or 3% of their entire assets under management, when they give some percentages. This is going to be flowing into Bitcoin and Ethereum. And we're going to see, I do think we're going to see an incredible amount of base. It's going to be mostly base investment, meaning when we're at some sort of decent price point. I don't think pension funds are going to be going in once we're at, if we just spiked all the way up to $120,000. No, they're going to be looking at, kind of where we're at in the market now, or maybe after we have our next bull peak and we go into our bear market cycle, that's when we're going to start seeing a lot of institutional money pouring in, which is going to create a very strong, long-term held, strong hand base to the market that is going to also create a higher amount of illiquid asset, meaning there's going to be a lack of supply. There's going to be coins being held by people that are not looking to sell because it's going to be pension and retirement accounts and, treasury, corporate treasuries and stuff that they're not trading the volatility. So it's going to create a very strong base and really reduce the available supply that's going to lead to another very strong bull trend that I think is going to break this sort of diminishing returns theory. But it's not going to persist into every cycle after that. I think it's only going to be probably 1.5 cycles, maybe another strong bull trend that's going to break all expectations. Because also think about it, once we hit that sort of turning point with global awareness of and safety and regulation and people, this global digital asset trade war that's really going to come. I think we all need to be prepared for that and not trying to jump in when the market is all the way up here. If we look at this on my chart, if we come right here, what we want to do is prevent ourselves from waiting to buy up here. We're waiting. Oh, okay, now everybody's coming in. Well, hype cycle buyers with no conviction. Let's see what happens shortly after they buy, down. Let's see what happens shortly after they buy, down. You see what I mean? So we want to identify these zones right here, black swan events where we can get in, or smart money accumulation when everybody is scared. We look at we're aware of the supply and demand dynamics as well as the adoption curves. And we know if we missed it and we're way up here, it doesn't mean you missed the boat on getting into an asset. It means, oh, I just need to be a little bit patient right now. And doesn't mean also you shouldn't be setting money aside. I wouldn't argue for you to DCA at the top here all the way down. What I would argue is, and this is not investment advice, this is a strategy encouragement. If you get very interested in any asset, whether it's Bitcoin or altcoin, whatever asset you're looking at, it could be S&P 500, could be anything. If you finally get to the point where your brain goes click, oh, I should be investing, and you can see that you're near a top, you're having this strong cycle, then set a separate account aside or open Coinbase or whatever asset wallet, anything where you're putting either US dollars or converting US dollars to stable coins and putting money aside, just like you're DCAing. You're building a dry powder. You're building basically your coffers. You're building an asset treasury of liquid capital on the way down until you go through BitLab Academy or learn on your own that you can pull up. The short-term holder cost basis. You can pull up long-term holder cost basis. You understand coming over here on lookintobitcoin.com, which is a free on-chain chart site. And you can come over here, let's say, let's see, is there a long-term holder? Let's go to charts. I'm going to come over here. Maybe they don't have that. Bottom. So you can see with this tool very simply, if you get anywhere near this red line, that's not the time to start investing. But similarly, if you come over to, let's see, where's MVRV? You come over to MVRV, come to this MVRV Z-score, you can see also, not only was that terminal price showing that it was up near the red, but you also see this is tapping into the red on this Z-score here, on the MVRV Z-score. So maybe that's not the time to get in. This is hype. Maybe if you're getting into short there and then ride all the way down until the price is back down here where you see the price is below the realized price, which this is what this is. This is showing the oscillation of the actual price of traded Bitcoin. This is how far it is, the standard deviations above what the realized price is. And when this is down here in the green, this is when the price is below realized price, meaning it's undervalued. So there's very basic tools you can utilize when you're looking at all the price action, when you're trying to figure out what to do. And if you're not sure what to do, look at a couple things. And we break all this down in the on-chain data course as well in BitLab Academy. But the point here is use the tools at your disposal so you can identify when is a good spot to, if you are jumping in first or you're talking to somebody that's new coming into the market, teach them the basics of what price action is, what a candle is, how you can loosely identify where a likely top region is, where a likely bottom is forming. And as you can see right here, you see this is all the way down in the green. Bottom was forming, but the price still fell down. Does this mean this was not a good spot to get in? No, this is a good spot that a lot of people start DCAing in, dollar cost average. And when it drops further, this doesn't mean sell. You're below realized price. If the Bitcoin price is below this and you're DCAing and this drops further, you go, yay, I get to DCA in at a lower price and lower my average entry. You don't get scared because you're already in a likely bottom formation. If you're aware of the data and the tools that you can use, then you don't get trapped in the emotionality of the trade. So I want to challenge each and every one of you to, when you're feeling emotional, check out, say, hold up, wait a minute, and then tune in to the data that's available to you to look at what the data is saying, not what the market makers and the smart money institutions are pushing price to levels that trap you with your emotion so that you donate your money to them. No, we're not going to do that any longer. So, man, I'm feeling good today, everybody. Market's doing good. I did something today. I'm going to talk to you all about it. I didn't want to do it, but I did it. And it's needed to happen. It was responsible. I was carrying, I don't want to say debt, but I was carrying a little bit of debt because I've made myself so cash poor because I've just been allocating everything into the crypto for the last 6 months just because of where the market is and taking advantage of it. And I was like, you know what? As much as I don't want to, I teach all this financial management stuff, not financial advice, but strategy, here in BitLab Academy. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and cash out some stuff, not cash out, but take some profits on some stuff. Some stuff I actually took out and it was just break even. Because I was like, I started feeling like, you know what? The market is a little bit uncertain right now. And I would rather take stuff out at break even and pay off that. It wasn't a big amount, but you know, several $1,000s. I was like, it's silly for me to carry that while, you know, because I'm wanting the market to go up. And I was like, it was just, sometimes all of us, no matter what knowledge you have, sometimes all of us step out of the path that we know we should be on. And I felt like you know, I myself, I'm being honest here, I was stepping out of my path of, you know, organizing my finances in the best way possible to go to the future, you know, to looking towards the future. You don't carry debt while you are investing, because unless you're making, you know, significant gains each month, you're essentially costing yourself that interest rate, those percentages each month. So I took the leap. I did that. You know, I was like, oh, but the second, you know, because it was like the graph. I took some profits on, and I did sell some Cardano, because there's uncertainty around that right now. And I actually I sold it. It was still at a profit because I got such a good deal. I didn't sell all of it, but I did it. And I was so frustrated. My hopium side, we all need to know our greed, our hopium, what does the data say? The data says you're an idiot, Kelly. You're carrying debt while you have way more than enough money to pay this off. Why not just get that off your shoulders? And I did, and I feel 100 times better for it. So I want to incentivize you all. Don't navigate your finances on hope. Navigate it on data. Navigate it on strategy. And while, you know, in my mind, I still have that inner child going, as soon as you sell this, there's going to be a retraction from the SEC and everything's just going to moonshot. But that's not the status of what the global markets and what the digital asset space is in the US right now. Things are looking like they could get a little more uncertain for a longer period of time. So rather than wait till I lost money on my investment to pull money out to pay off those debts, I just took the plunge. So I want you all to know that I don't care what any hate, and luckily I don't have that many haters out there, but as this channel grows, I will get more and more, and that's okay. Because people aren't here like you all every day knowing me. Like I want you all to know that you are in my life and I am in your life, and we all need to do this together. We need to share our wins. We need to share our losses. We need to do this as a group. So everybody hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ding that bell. Let's kind of look back into all these charts that we wanted to go over. So we talked about this, the different stages of the cycle. If we look right here, I want you to notice that we did have the similar sell-off where the sort of accumulation phase at the bottom of this bear market was. You know, we had this right here collapse, and then we kind of had similar levels of where the bottom is, similar right here, perfectly in line. And look at this. This is, I don't want to say concerning, but we need to be aware of it. Push up here. Look at exactly where these push-ups were. And then this had a sell-off. This doesn't look like a lot, but it was, let's see, 30, no way. I don't know what the price is, but this was not $37,000. This was much lower. This is just because this graph is measuring this current one. That's what it is. But we had this large sell-off here and then a long period of accumulation. But what I want to notice, I want you to notice a 2019 push up here and then strong sell-off and then black swan. Where this sort of peak was about in line with where we're at now. And whether we get a large sell-off or a long period of accumulation, the point here is that we don't need everything to be making all our money right now. Sometimes we need to form that large base. Like Bill Noble says, the longer the base, the bigger the space. Right now, if we get a sell-off here or just go sideways, we have quite a bit of time before the next halving. And if we look at it on this chart right here, the next halving is, if we zoom in here, the next halving is roughly, let's see, we still have 239 days before the halving. But then remember this is 239 days before and that's estimates. It'll be within a week or two of that date. But I want you to notice is here, there's a halving. It took some time before the price really started going parabolic after that. So it's probably at least a year minimum before we really start seeing those big gains. So now is a time, if you're doing things waiting on hopium for prices to skyrocket so you can pay off a debt from that portfolio, and I'm not telling you what to do, but I want you to take stock of what the timeline is you're looking for when you're looking at these markets. Now, this also goes to this also highlights a point of what we've talked about before when we're discussing Okay. So blockchain bonehead, I agree with you. I agree with you entirely. He said, I don't understand the whole you can't invest if you carry debt. I have thousands in debt in my house and 2 cars. I'm investing to hopefully get out of debt. No, I completely agree with that. I get that. But what I was talking about was I had basically inconsequential sort of life spending credit card debt that I was basically spending while I was investing. So my argument there is that's a silly debt to have. Now, having your house, having your car, I agree. You've got to make sure your life is balanced for what makes sense for you and what you can afford, but incurring unnecessary debt of just life expenditures. And, you know, especially anybody, if you have 15 or 20 or $30,000 in credit card debt, those debts tend to be, it's like loan sharks almost, because those can be anywhere from 15 to 30% interest rate, which basically sets you up to, unless you make a huge amount of money quickly to pay it off, you end up paying a lot of people paying off credit card debt end up paying almost, 2 times or 3 times what the debt originally was because of interest rates. So that's what I'm talking about. But I appreciate you bringing that up. Now let me see. Mr. Blake says, when I decided to make the switch from just investing spot trading and start becoming familiar with options, I gave myself a somewhat small amount and just started practicing. That's a good point there. Yeah, I appreciate that. That's a good comment there, Mr. Blake. Too many people jump in too fast with too much capital and risking capital without the proper mechanism. Mitch Shaw said, Kelly, if you had any other haters, you won't after today's show. Keep up the great work. Hey man, we're only as good as our last day, right? You know, as good as we are, you can be phenomenal and do one thing that just completely, so I want to make sure every day that I'm competing with myself every day to be as good as possible. And I fail a lot of times. You know, I remember one time I was in this meditation thing. I was running these events in New York, and the event that day was this meditation, and I was so zenned out, and I was in New York. I go out, my camera keeps shaking from my desk. Let me go ahead and slide that back. I think that'll be a little better. There we go. I go out on the street, and this woman said something to me, and the New York in me came out, and we had this cursing argument. And this is like 3 minutes after I came out of the Zen thing, where I was like, oh, I'm so Zen. And that has stuck with me ever since. And I try to remember always, and sometimes I fail. Every moment is a new competition with yourself. As good as you could be in the last moment, how are you handling this moment? And when you do fail, how quick do you get back on the path? Man, we're talking all kind of different things today. I'm loving it. But I want to get into the charts here. Point is, we have a lot of time. Let's manage our time wisely. Let's manage what our entire investment portfolio and debt portfolio is. Because sometimes sometimes it's okay to take on debt to do something else. But when you're doing it for a long period of time and you're incurring so much interest on it, that it puts you in a position to where even when you do make money, all the money you made still goes off to pay off that debt. So we just need to be strategic about what we're doing. Now, when we're talking about our portfolio management and what we're doing moving forward, we've got to look at, let's come over here to CoinMarketCap. CoinMarketCap, when we're looking at everything going on, we can see, let's go just to the watch list. We're seeing, let's do the gains. 7 days. So we're seeing on the last 7 days, when we're having all this turmoil in the market, we have a couple that are, Avalanche, which did not yet get named in any security thing. Will it? Could be. We don't know. But we're seeing Bitcoin and Ethereum. Look at this. Out of the top 100, Bitcoin and Ethereum are resilient through all this firestorm because of the lack of sort of, one, their larger market caps, but two, the lack of naming in any of this securities call outs from potential security call outs from Gary Gensler and the SEC. Now, my speculation on all this is that I do think that there's probably a positive outcome that's coming very soon for XRP. What's it going to be? I don't know, but I do think that Gary Gensler is throwing stuff at the wall right now to get it in the court's hands before that case happens, because I don't think it's going to go in the full direction that he wants it to, talking about the XRP. So What's going to happen? I don't know. But you know, Brian Armstrong did point out yesterday as well. Brian Armstrong being the CEO of almost said Twitter, of Coinbase. You know, he did this long thread. This is not what I want to click on. He did this long thread. Let's see, where is it at? I shared this yesterday, by the way. If you all didn't see this, check out my Twitter page, my Twitter profile. I shared this with some thoughts on there, but they shared. Where is it? I think this is it right here. Regarding the SEC complaint against us today, we're proud to represent the industry in court to finally get some clarity around crypto rules. Now, this is very important. And this ties into what we're talking about with Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins. All these things are tying together right now, and they should be. You should all be asking what your diversification is, what your time horizons are, what and why you're investing in different things. This is important. He said, remember, the SEC reviewed our business and allowed us to become a public company in 2021. Okay. Note that as number one. There's no path. The second point, there's no path to come in and register. We tried repeatedly, so we don't list securities. We reject the vast majority of assets we review. Okay. The SEC and the CFTC have made conflicting statements and don't even agree on what is a security and what is a commodity. Number four, this is why the U.S. Congress is introducing new legislation to fix the situation, and the rest of the world is moving to put clear rules in place to support the technology. Now, this is interesting right here. Instead of publishing a clear rule book, the SEC has taken a regulation by enforcement approach that is harming America. So, and remember, America accounts for a huge amount of liquidity that's in the digital asset ecosystem. Now, if the U.S. completely outlaws it, I do think the digital asset ecosystem will live on. However, it would put a huge damper in the next few years of adoption and growth on the global space. However, I do think it would also incentivize other nations, other sovereign nations, to move more expediently and be more open to some of these digital assets, because it would put them. They would leapfrog us economically if we don't take forwards, if we don't take steps to move forward and be a part of this evolution and revolution. So if we need to avail ourselves of the courts to get clarity, so be it. I love this approach, because they have spent so many time. They've had over 50 different meetings with the SEC. They've done everything they can. I do think there's going to be a positive outcome that comes out of all this. This is a little bit of a silver lining. Is it going to be uncertain for now? Yes. Do we need to make attempts to make sure our portfolios are balanced and diversified in such a way that could protect ourselves until then? Yes, but I do think it's still wise to have some exposure to different stuff. But maybe now's the time to have that sort of heavier approach to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a few other top altcoins. But also note Cardano. Is Cardano going to get delisted for a period of time on Coinbase? I don't know. There's speculation. I think I saw that. Cardano may be getting delisted from, is it here? No. Cardano may be getting delisted from, what do you call it? Robinhood. Where's the dang thing I was just looking at? Right here. By the way, in this case, in this case, it's not obvious. The Coinbase suit is very different from others. And this is the important part I wanted to get to here. The complaint filed against us is exclusively focused on what is or is not a security. This case, Taylor, tied to also what happens with XRP, I do think there's going to be some regulatory clarity and legal precedent that's going to be set in the next 1 to 4 years. Think about how long the XRP case has been going on, okay? There's a lot that's going to need to take place to develop to come to a determination here. And we are confident in our facts and the law. So this is important. We'll get the job done. In the meantime, let's all keep moving forward and building as an industry. America will get this right in the end. Now, remember, Coinbase also has the international arm that there's, I think they may have already been set up, but they're in process of setting up as well. So we need to take stock of that. Gary Austin, I can't tell you that answer. He said, should I sell my ADA? I can't tell you what to do. I will let you know that, as I said, I did take some profits on mine. I did get it at a much lower price. You're going to need to determine, based on your portfolio, what your entry price was, what your time horizon is, what your, investment to debt ratio is. You need to make that determination. I will say, if you're going to take any profits on any asset, don't do it emotionally in the moment just to get out of something because you're scared. Look at the charts. And that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to look at the charts. We're going to see what is developing, what is going on. Let's come over here to Bitcoin. We're going to zoom in on this. We're going to come down to the 4 hour and look at this. Quick liquidity washout to the downside. Quick bounce right back to the upside. We have 5 bearish divergences, which are right at this 0.382 fib, as well as this previous price action, which is just above where this point of control line is right here. We got strong rejection. We're coming back down. The question here on Bitcoin is going to be, we're going to do very brief on Bitcoin. We're going to do a bunch of altcoins today, just so y'all know, because I do spend a lot of time on Bitcoin and I'm aware of it. It's just it's a big daddy right now. So if this pulls back, if this finds support here and bounces, this would be very bullish for Bitcoin. And it's pretty amazing, this sort of liquidity washout in both directions right now. This is why it pays. When this drops, you don't just go all in on leverage long. I mean, you could have made money here, but most people here, there's a lot of people then leverage long in here only to get washed out. So we've had the shorts washed out. We had the longs washed out. Now the shorts washed out. Now the longs washed out again. It pays to be patient. And especially right now in this choppy market, it's not when you go all in on leverage. You should never go all in on leverage. But this is not when you're trying to just Hail Mary, trying to make a bunch of money. Look at this, is washing out people both directions. So as it stands right now, this is looking, this is on the daily, getting back to neutral. This is looking somewhat strong on the significant movement, but just in the context of this being a downtrend, and then we get the money flow, bearish divergence. Things are still looking very uncertain and choppy. Coming down to the 1 hour, got the bounce. Look at two different order block outlines right here that we fell right through. We're getting rejected. We're coming right back down. I do think, man, this is looking a little bit like an oblong cup and handle, but it's a kind of weird shape. To me, this is looking weak. Markets are being very irrational right now. The market could be shaking off stuff. If we break back above this level, this high right here, 27,387, then we could be looking at basically right here. If we very quick trip right up to the 27.6. We break this level, then I'd be looking for higher price action. As it stands right now, this is still looking weak. We're still getting lower highs. This is just looking uncertain on Bitcoin. So let's come over to Ethereum. We're going to come right here. Let's first look at Cardano because the chart's up. Cardano is, this is, I speculate. Let's turn off the flags here. Actually, let's turn them on and just turn on just the last flag. Show only last divergence. We could see right there. Come on. There we go. So we had bearish divergence. And we had, look at this, lower highs. We had an M formation. And then this is not only an M here, but then we had an M here and an M here, meaning double top within a double top within a double top, bearish, drops down. This is, the speculation here is, where is news? News now, not news now, news. Let's come over to Cardano. I love, if you all haven't been watching me for a while, this is the news aggregator I like to use because it pulls news from every different source. CoinGape, Yahoo, Bazinga, Bloomberg, everything. Cointelegraph, Digital, all this stuff. But come over here to Cardano, close that. We could see Cardano Foundation firing back at SEC. Let's look at the latest news. There was something in here, Command F, round, what is it, Robin. There we go. So potential speculation about basically delisting from Robinhood. Are we also going to get delisted? XRP was delisted from Coinbase when it was, thrown out there that it may be a security. So there's a lot of fear and worry, not specifically that if Cardano is a security, I truly believe it's not. But we have to also operate when we're navigating these markets on what exchanges are going to do. And if they delist, what sort of firestorm is that going to create in the fear and FUD of the space of people selling off their asset? Now, I'm a long-term holder of my main portfolio of Cardano, but there was some more speculative buys, more recent buys, and you know, some asset that I picked up that I felt comfortable getting rid of because I was, one, in profit, but two, I have my longer term portfolio. I'm looking at Cardano in my long-term hold, I'm not going to sell. But on my shorter term, you know, trading portfolio, it's like, well, if this, you know, if this gets delisted on Coinbase or other major exchanges that are trying to prevent themselves getting a lawsuit, you know, whether it be Gemini or Kraken or KuCoin, think about, there's a lot that could happen here. And we could, you know, option J, we got a sort of zone in here. Option J, this is option J gives us this horizontal ray. If you're on PC, it's Alt J, so you don't have to come over here to the toolbar. Now we can see we have this region right here, this high, and this is, you know, if we're looking at Cardano, it's going to go like this. From where we're at now, this is another 50% drop, 54% drop down to that next level. And then 66% drop down to this. Now, could we stop at this level right here, option J, which is this most recent low? Yes, we very well could. But to speculate and just trade on hope, if I'm looking to take profits anytime soon and be aware that we have another 26% drop to this more recent low, and then another 52 to 54% drop, and then there's a lot going on there. So you have to hedge your position. And maybe it's not getting assets out of the market, but maybe it's saying, okay, sometimes you rotate your capital. You take some profits here, you hedge yourself safely, and you move. And I'm not telling you any of you to do this. I'm telling you what the different strategies are to hedge your position. And maybe right now is a time for more capital protection. In this case, and you still want exposure to the digital asset ecosystem, maybe it's taking some profits here. You know, if we get a little bounce here or just before this drops and reallocating to Bitcoin, Ethereum, maybe Avalanche is a good opportunity right now because it's not listed. But I do think based on all the things that are being thrown at the wall right now, I think Avalanche likely will could likely get a call out as well. I mean, the list of assets that were listed, in the SEC cases recently has been ridiculous. So we see, you know, we have this, look at this rounding formation, a little bit of a higher high, but now we've broken this. And what have we said for the last weeks? We have a rising wedge here. And so now we want to be mad that the price action is falling. But this rising wedge, I've said, if we lose this level, this is going to be dropping down because these rising wedges have a higher likelihood of breaking to the downside. So really all that's happened here is a price action is playing out what this chart formation has shown us. So we could be mad about the news, but we can also have seen that the likelihood was here all the way from when we formed this to when we bounced here, we came back up. We already knew that we had a rising wedge. So we knew that the likelihood was coming down regardless of what the SEC did anyway. The question here is this going to bounce? Well, first steps first, we can kind of hit the auto here, double click on this. We see this green candle here. Green candle, why? Relative extrema right here. Let's go ahead and take my face off the chart. Relative extrema, this is all part of the BitLab trading stack. This shows unhealthy movements. When these green candles are outside of this this aggregate momentum wave, if I double click on this, see this shaded cloud? When these candles are within this means that the price action is moving healthily. And we can see right here, these were outside. This is not healthy. We got the rejection. These were outside of the downside. So that means there's underlying bullishness. We got a little bit of a bounce that was immediately outside to the up, and we basically bearish pressure on this small retrace. Rejection at the point of control. What do I mean? This pink line right here is a point of control. Look at this, rejection right there. Relative extrema said no. This is on the 3-day chart, rejection down. Now we're getting a green candle. So let's come down to the 12-hour. Had the green candle, but the bottom fell out. So I'm thinking right now there's going to be more speculative, irrational price action that's not going to be really following trends of, look at this. We got a bearish divergence on the volume right here. And what is this? What are we seeing right here? We've talked about this. Leg down, sideways, leg down. Are we going to get another sideways leg down? Maybe a little bit of a retrace somewhere in here, but this is looking very weak. And I'm going to be on the side of the bears for the time being because we're having weakness. Price action is falling out. And there's just speculative uncertainty about what's going on in the markets right now. So I hedged a little bit of my position. I took some profits. I put some of it to that small amount of credit that I had. I was like, I don't need this. I have all these assets. So I took some profits, put it in that, and then I put the rest of those profits into Bitcoin. Now we can come over here to Ethereum. Ethereum also a little bit of a sell-off as it relates to Ethereum to Bitcoin chart. We can see here, but let's look at it. Ethereum to US dollar. Okay. Looking relatively, we had the falling, basically falling parallel channel. I hate this. I always forget. By the way, everybody, I'll tell you again, if you use this drawing arrow and you always end up clicking on stuff like I do, because you're trying to double click on the chart, all you need to do is right click and you see it goes, watch this right here. If I right click, it goes right back to your selector tool. So we have the falling parallel channel. I wanted to double click because I wanted to minimize these indicators. So we have the falling parallel channel, which is somewhat of a bullish chart formation. Come up, break out, test, push up again, lower high. But we did come down here and retest this trend line again. We bounced up, but we're getting lower highs. So we almost have like another falling parallel channel. It's a little bit of a broadening wedge. There we go. A little bit of a broadening wedge here. Let me mute this. Yeah, it's a little bit of a, but either way, this is also bullish. But things are looking so iffy right now. As it stands right now, down, up, down, up. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is looking more bullish, definitely more bullish than Cardano. But remember, this also wasn't listed in all those securities potentialities. I think he's trying to. If I had to guess, I would think the SEC is trying to push the market towards shutting off a lot of the speculative, a broad range of the altcoins in the market, disincentivizing people to put liquidity there. I think in a way, this is bullish for Bitcoin and Ethereum because it's sort of kind of giving the nod that, okay, we can't stop Bitcoin, we can't stop Ethereum. The question is going to be what other top altcoins are going to be able to fight through this. I think XRP will probably definitely make it. I think that Cardano probably will too, but I think there are going to be some court cases that are going to draw some things out. And so I'm protecting myself in that manner. So Ethereum is looking a little bit more bullish, but it is still looking weak. If we look at this on the 3-day, look at this on the 3-day. The broad context is, look at this, pink candles showing a little bit of weakness here. Now daily is trying to fight through it though. So I think there's, uncertainty. Ethereum is something that I am looking at more bullishly in the long run. Look at this, 2 order blocks here. Look at this, 1, 2, 3. These order blocks from the mesopic vision. This will be something that'll be new. One of the indicators. It's a volume range. We have 3 different versions of it. You do the whole chart or just do a fixed portion right here that tracks along as the candles go. But the key here is it gives these order blocks, these order liquidity issues on the order books where there's gaps in the market, gives you these order blocks of price interest. And look at this, got up, rejected at this order block from all the way back here, rejected, come down. Now we're finding support, a little bit of support right now. We haven't fallen through it. We said this wick bounced. This is bouncing. I'd like to see Ethereum buck the trend of the uncertainty in the altcoin market and come down, do this number, and work its way out. But will that happen? I don't know. As it stands right now, let's go on the 1 hour. We're getting a little bit of blue wave here. We had some bearish divergences on the volume, but the relative extremo was showing that this was unhealthy to the downside. What are we going to see? I don't know. I'm going to leave this drawing there. This is my hope. Will that happen? If it doesn't happen, it's going to come and do something like this if the market gets nuked. So I'm going to make that line red. We'll come back to it. Now, let's go to Avalanche. We talked about Avalanche. Avalanche did not get the securities designation yet, or the speculative sort of complete idiocracy from Gary Gensler. Let's go to the 8 hour. Everybody hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button, ding that bell. I appreciate you all. If you haven't subscribed yet, join our family here. By the way, if you're watching over on the Hit Network live stream, but any of you that haven't seen that yet, you should definitely check it out. We have a 24/7 stream that streams all the different content from, it's right here, Hit Network. Come and give this a follow. I bet I'm live on there right now. We'll watch us in Inception. Or but point being is, come over to BitLab Academy if you're watching anywhere else. If you're watching this clip anywhere, come give us a follow. YouTube.com/@BitLab Academy, and check out this daily alpha right here. There's a bunch of just ongoing good stuff. You can watch it anytime, especially the Pro Trading View Guide, a guide to profits, Bitcoin and banks. This is a great long, basically macro. Doesn't matter what the price action was that day. This talks about the macro and where price could be going. So just wanted to shout that out yet. And if you haven't yet, make sure you come and check out bitlabacademy.com. We got a lot of great stuff in here. You can check out the different courses. Sign up right here for the newsletter. I'll be sending out another one maybe here in a day or so with some charts, some updates, some discount codes. And you can all, come in at the top right, yours will say enroll now, enroll there, or just click right here. Start your education for free. I just want to point this out. You can share this with friends and family as well. Go to this page, and right here, beginners start free today. There's a couple different courses for beginners. What is Bitcoin? A blockchain, a whole crypto beginners course for understanding tokenomics and price action. And then of course, if you want all access to all the courses, come right here to the I want all access. And I was supposed to turn off the coupon code, but I didn't yet. If you use give me 30, you get access. I can show you right here. This is it right here. You can use these codes. I'm not telling you when I'm canceling these codes, but they will be canceled soon. You can use Give Me 30 for the courses and for the indicators. But if you're going to get both, I would recommend just getting the all access because that's discounted like 30% every month. If you have the courses and the indicators, it's $97 a month rather than $130 or something. We wanted to make sure people really in our community got, and I do want to shout out Discord today, 4 p.m. All you BitLab members, I'm doing the BitLab members stage. Let me pull that up real quick. I don't want to open this. Okay, I'm already in good. So right here, BitLab Academy, if you scroll right here to stage, I'll be on live at 4 p.m. If you don't have access to that, it's because you're not a paying member. This is one of the benefits of being a member. We have AMAs, we share charts, we share all the stuff. Now let's do a little bit more Turbo TA before we go. We got some minutes left. So Avalanche, let's go ahead and look at it on the 3-day, double click on the chart. Okay, let me go ahead and peek in at all of the Lido is not named bullish on it. Let's look at LDO as well. Start your boom, boom, boom. I'm just making sure Twitter FUD. What is the security? Yeah, right. Did we get, I was not paying attention to chat. So if there was any super chats, let me know, mods, because I want to make sure I call out specifically anybody that does a super chat and answer any questions, or if there's a specific coin you want. I don't want somebody to do a super chat and me not see it. So looking here, Avalanche down. I'm bullish on Avalanche in the long term because their partnerships and some of their the Ava Cloud, allowing no code sort of coin issuance, blockchains and stuff like that, as well as development and their partnerships with Amazon. And so I am bullish on the long term, but we see these two major trend lines right here from this point and this point and this point and this point projected out. We see that we broke this one, came up, but as it stands right now, this is looking a little weak. This is looking a little weaker than I remembered. This uncertainty in the marketplace right now. So if this were to pull down, I'd be looking option J at this level right here, because we're kind of sitting on top of this right here. You see this this price point at 1405, 1410, 1405 to 1420. We're sitting right in this zone right now, which is this previous high zone right here. Also just below this zone. So I'd be looking at this level as the next level down, 1223. If we lose this level, then we're coming likely all the way down, option J, all the way down to this level here, down to the 10 zone. And for me, this would be a very strong long-term buy, but we also have to be aware of everything going on in the global, in the US sort of monetary SEC persecution. We're being persecuted right now, everybody. So throw a 1 in chat if you agree with what the SEC is doing. Throw a 2, throw a 2 in chat. Say hell no, SEC. If you don't agree with that, the SEC, do hashtag defund the SEC. You know what I'm saying? So Avalanche is looking a little weak. We do have a strong information right here. Look at this. And we have lost, we've broken through what this previous low was. If we don't get some sort of bounce here soon, then I would be looking for these lower zones. Coming down to the 4 hour, let's look at how this looks zoomed in. So this is broadening, and it's kind of angled. Yeah, I don't know. This is, I'm looking at the just context of the markets. On the context of the markets sort of narrative, I would think that we'll likely have some stronger sell-offs from more alts. So I would lean towards this probably likely coming down, because even right here, look at this. Look at these boxes. This is the mesopic vision, everybody. These boxes are a part of this volume profile range. It's not the same thing as a VPVR. Somebody said that today on the other day on BitBoy when I pulled it up. It was like, oh, great, you're just copying the VP. It's not the VPVR. Yes, there's a volume range, but also you're getting heat map, but you're getting these order blocks, which really identifies zones of interest. This price action came up right to these order blocks, which were established here, got rejected right here. So as it stands, if we're not able to hold this, I think that this is likely testing to the downside, because on the small bounce to the upside, relative extreme of firing, we're neutral as it is right there on the 1 hour. Let's look. Bearish divergence. Look at this. Bearish divergence on the volume showing lack of interest. This is trying to come down. It's looking very uncertain for Avalanche. It is currently a little more bullish than the other ones. Let's look at, we haven't looked at it in a while. Let's look at Atom. Atom was one of those that was listed. Looking here at Atom, look at this. Zone right here. Red box was formed right here. Projected out. Projected out. Price tracks up right to the zone. Also a little bit below previous high. Price double top right here. Excuse me, man, I got the hiccups. Double top in formation. And we break down a little bit of an attempt in formation like this. You see? Got a little bit of attempt, down, little bit of attempt, false relief, down. So what we're seeing here on Atom now, if that's not any worse, okay, we're getting a strong price action, but now we also have a sort of angled up broadening wedge. What does this mean? Tap, 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 tap. This could go all the way back up here and tap and then come down. But what this is looking like is this is likely what I would expect on this, because of all these allegations, because of the FUD the SEC is sharing, is this will likely come up something like this and then drop like this. This is what I would think. And even as it stands right here, we have that bearish divergence on the volume. You see what I'm saying? Boom, 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 boom. What's going to be the next leg down? I hate this because I think Atom is such a good project. It's so silly to me. You know what this reminds me of? You know what this reminds me of with what the SEC is doing? What this reminds me of is people arguing that cars should be illegal because horses are fine. And they're not allowing legislation. They're not allowing funding for building of roads because cars are unsafe and horses do everything that we need. Why would we ever need a car? This is what the SEC is doing right now. It is regulating us into the 18th and 19th century because they don't understand how to look forward. And in some ways, I can be compassionate about it because how fast society and technology has grown, actually the technological part of our world. I mean, we live dual lives now. We have been in the metaverse, whether we believe it or not, living dual lives since we all started using email. Since the advent of the internet and how fast that's grown and how much it has accelerated the adoption of any new technology and how fast this permeates our culture, we have not yet even caught up culturally to what it means to be able to send somebody an email and not have them wait for 2 weeks for that mail to be delivered. In reality, we still haven't caught up to the fact that we've had the telephone or the railroad. And now we have this exponential growth of technology. And of course, governments want to maintain power, but they're forgetting their number one mandate. That is to protect the people, sometimes protect them from themselves. But in reality, we live in a free democratic republic society here in the US, and we should have the opportunity to build and innovate things that can increase our livelihood, it can increase our freedom, our sovereignty, right? So I really hope that Gary Gensler will get it together and stop looking at a brick wall telling us it's a glass house, because he's the one saying that this is not safe. Meanwhile, the US dollar has lost 78% or something of its purchasing power or more since the 70s. And yet Bitcoin has only increased its purchasing power since the day it was released. Have we had swings in price? Yes. But look at that trajectory over the last 13, 14 years. We can see that Bitcoin is the answer. And I would hope that the US government and other world governments would realize that we don't need to say, okay, turn off the US dollar. It's all Bitcoin. It's all Ethereum. It's all digital assets. Yes, we have a need for the digital asset utility of the US dollar. We've already been using it for the last, 40 years, 30 years or so. What's longer than that? 40 plus years with credit cards and debit cards and such. And it's become more entwined in our society and culture. But what we can understand also is we can have a duality. We can have digital assets that do certain things and store value and transact more quickly and eliminate fees. Is this a problem for banks? Is this a problem for credit services? Absolutely. But like anything in life, as Darwin said, is survival of the fittest. We all need to, as individuals and as companies, adapt or die. We need to figure out, I know Visa and MasterCard are figuring out ways to utilize blockchain technology. And, it's going to mean some changes. It's going to change where some of their profit centers are. It's going to incentivize them to catch up to the modern day world. We don't need to wait 7 days or 13 days to wire money to a friend in another country, or even to ourselves in another bank account in another country, which I had to do when I was in Thailand. And then I had to pay $35 or $100 transaction fee for Swift, when we can do this stuff immediately, basically with XLM and XRP and Bitcoin and then Cardano and Algorand. And these services are empowering people the ability to be more efficient with how they're spending money, how they're sharing money between themselves, how transactions operate, while also being able to maintain some of that money that we're paying to bankers to build their houses so that they can transfer money over 7 days, when we know that that money is transacted instantaneously through the digital systems, because we all have the internet. I load Google. I see how fast things happen. Finance travels that fast as well. But they want to keep that money in their bank account so they can speculate on it in that 7-day window or whatever they're doing. But it's not empowering the consumer. It's not empowering the citizen. And that's all I got for today. A little bit of a rant. I love you all. Check out bitlabacademy.com if you haven't been there yet. Let's head over to, where are we heading today? We're gonna go check out the news over at BitBoy Crypto. And I'm going to be sending you all, this is going to redirect automatically to the Hit Network, which is going to have BitBoy Crypto on as well. Follow all the channels, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding that bell. And with that, I love you all. Adios, over and out. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. Thank you for always tuning in. BitLabAcademy.com. Hit that like button, sucker. Bring me a higher low.